Good morning. It's February 20th, and this is to my liberal friends. How many of you think that Congress should start working together to solve some of our major problems? How many of you are tired of the partisan bickering that goes on within the media? And how many of you would cheer if you heard that Republicans and Democrats were finally agreeing to some solutions for things like Social Security, Medicare, deficit reduction, immigration, and the list goes on and on? The problem with our political system today is that both parties seem to be more interested in scoring political victories than solving problems. They're more interested in investigating each other than working together. Democrats today are decrying Republican efforts to investigate the Biden administration and even the Biden family. But it was Democrats investigating Trump and his family when he was president. The problem is that both parties seem to think that's the key to future victories. And as the saying goes, Rome burns while Nero fiddles. Today we are faced with a possible fiscal crisis. The national debt has reached $31 trillion and continues to go up. We need to increase the debt limit in order to pay our bills. Democrats say just increase the limit. Republicans say we won't increase the debt limit until you agree to cut future spending. Democrats say show us which programs you want to cut before we even consider your plan. So okay, Republicans need to lay their cards on the table and put together a plan that cuts spending in a reasonable way. Democrats will have to finally admit they don't really want to cut spending because that will immediately attack the plan as an attempt to score some political points. But in reality, they need to show a plan on how to resolve the problems as well. So it rings a bit hollow when they demand Republicans show their plan when the Democrats don't have a plan either. Social Security has been an issue that has been in the news. The Democrats keep saying that Republicans want to cut Social Security. They base this on a plan that Senator Rick Scott put out that will require all programs to sunset after 5 years and be reviewed. He has since said that that would not apply to Social Security. But in principle, it's probably a good idea for all government programs to be reviewed after a certain amount of time to see if they're working correctly or need to be eliminated. Kevin McCarthy, the House Speaker, has adamantly stated that Social Security and Medicare are not on the table in budget negotiations that involve the debt ceiling. But Democrats keep pointing to it to scare people. But what is their plan to solve Social Security's financial woes? The experts tell us that the fund will be no longer able to pay full benefits by 2033. By law, they would have to be reduced, and those experts say the reduction would be at least 23%. Is that the plan for Biden and his fellow Democrats? I don't think so, but when they demand a plan from Republicans, shouldn't they have a plan for themselves? I guess they could adopt the budget model progressives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez follow, the modern monetary theory, which says the government can print more money if they want to spend it. Of course, that would mean continually having to raise the debt ceiling and pushing the nation closer to bankruptcy. Defense spending is another massive part of the budget. Once again, Republicans and Democrats seem to be on different sides when this issue comes up. Progressive Democrats would like to see huge cuts in defense spending and transfer those funds to social programs. Now, I'm a veteran, and I know there's a lot of waste in the defense budget. I suspect that amount could be as high as 10% or more, and that would save about $800 billion over the 10-year cycle. But that would mean some serious cutting, and the programs would be on the block, have constituencies built up. Defense contractors know how to spread the cost of programs across multiple states and congressional districts to ensure political support. But if I'm putting the Republican plan forward, I would include some cuts in defense that would help reduce spending. Now, there are so many federal programs that could be cut to get our spending out of control. Let me just name a few. Food subsidies, farm subsidies, energy subsidies, housing subsidies, development subsidies, water subsidies, rail subsidies, unemployment subsidies, foreign aid, college subsidies, grazing subsidies, and this list could go on and on. If the government is subsidizing everyone, then it's effectively subsidizing no one. We're shuffling trillions of dollars around, and the largest net gainers are the high-paid middlemen and the lobbyists in Washington. And yes, I said lobbyist. I was one. As I mentioned, each of these programs have constituencies that have benefited from those subsidies for years. They rely on them, and they've hired people in Washington to protect them. Lawmakers don't like to cut spending, but they have to do something. Otherwise, the exploding national debt will be an increasing burden on our children, our economic growth, and our future standard of living. In essence, we're mortgaging our future so we don't have to pay the bill today. This is exactly why politicians like Joe Biden bring up Social Security. He must know that there's a problem that needs to be fixed, but he does not want to be the one that has to fix it because he wants to run for another term, and that might turn out to be political suicide. The same logic applies to the myriad of other subsidies that Congress is loath to touch. What all this tells me, and should tell you, is that the politicians we have in office are more concerned about getting elected and maintaining majorities than solving the nation's problems. I'm calling on Republicans to put forth a plan to reduce spending. Tell the public where you are suggesting the cuts be made. Then I want Democrats to put forth their plan about solving the budget crisis. That means they have to show how to fix things like Social Security. And that does not mean going to the old canard of raising taxes on the wealthy. This is class warfare that Democrats like to engage in because they know there are more have-nots than haves. But you eventually reach a limit on how high you can tax those with more. Then you have to start cutting spending, so why not bite the bullet now and start negotiating with both sides giving something in order to solve the problems. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you like the podcast, recommend it to your friends and hit the subscribe button. Thank you.